Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Weekly. We're a little bit late because of me. Yes. Technical issues, obviously trying to sign in to StreamYard can be challenging sometimes, but thank you for your patience. And we definitely have a good show for you today, guys. I'm Mike Spider Slayer, and of course I have Cat Comic Uno.
Hello, guys.
And we have Brant Fowler from Only Good Comics. So,
What's up, everyone?
yes, not a ton of news. Last week we, came off the heels of New York Comic Con. So this week is obviously going to be a little bit lighter. However, we will have a cool discussion in a few minutes about the blind bags in itself. I know we had 2 weeks worth of blind bags in a row. So it will be a fun little conversation there. But I'll hand it over to the Cat to get things started on some of the other news that was announced this week.
Yeah, honestly, something that's been really cool to see, and we're going to kind of see a trend here, is that comics are growing. Post-COVID, I think we were really worried in a post-Diamond situation of like, where are comics going? But especially this year, a lot of comic distributors and retailers and creators have been saying a lot of younger people are reading comics again, and there's more and more people reading comics. Like, obviously we had the Mark Spears book that sold over 350,000 copies, which is crazy for a Keen Spot book, a pretty indie publisher to sell that many. And then the 2 news pieces I'll put together is Absolute Batman Catwoman's first appearance selling over 200K, which also shows how well the Mark Spears did. Because if Catwoman's appearance is 200K and Mark Spears is 350K, that's kind of crazy. And then Murder Drones just made Kickstarter history, 1.5 million raised for Oni Press, which put them, I think, in the top 5 of funded Kickstarters. So let's start with the Kickstarter thing, and then we'll go into kind of the nitty gritty about the retailer side and the Wednesday Warrior side. But Kickstarter, I think it's really cool to see properties that are very niche do so well, because that is why that did so well. It's like based on like animated something on YouTube. I had personally never heard of it, but those are the things that are going to tend to do very well on Kickstarters, when something has a very dedicated fan base and they want to support it because they can't get it anywhere else. If you have a Spider-Man Kickstarter, you can kind of get Spider-Man in other avenues, but this drones, like, this is maybe the only avenue you're going to get something extra. So fans kind of go into droves to kind of get into this book. So I thought that was really cool. And it shows like the trend of where Kickstarter is going.
I mean, it also, I would think that Kickstarter in itself is great just because, like you did just say, there's a lot of books out there that are unique and different, and you're not going to get these types of books per se in the direct market. You know what I'm saying? And then even when you do have, like, say, a little bit more of the mainstream properties, like, say, like, for instance, that Transformers project that went on, like, that's still something that's a little bit different that you would, normally see in a shop. Same with like the G.I. Joe one with those special covers in the box and everything else. Like, I think that's what makes Kickstarter cool, is because it's unique and, but obviously there's that personal touch in there as well with the creators too.
Yeah, absolutely. It just, it's a different experience altogether. And of course, it's with all the Diamond stuff and everything that's happened in the comic industry, since COVID and everything, just the entire industry is going to change. And that, it made a way for a lot of creators that might not have, had the opportunity to be in front of people to be in front of people. And that's just really cool. So, but yeah, going back to Murder Drones, the writer of this actually writes that Knights book that I read from Image, which
Cool.
Yeah, so that's really cool. I really like that book. So happy for their success for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I know we always say it, and of course, like, Kat obviously is always doing Kickstarter projects all the time. Same with Brant, but it's just like, you know what, support them if you find something that you find that's interesting, and you never know, man. It could be like the next best thing. I mean, I use the example for Mark Spears all the time. He reached out to me when nobody knew who he was, and this was before his book came out in the direct market. And it was just a Kickstarter, and he said, "Hey, I'm launching this project. called Monsters, and it's a trading card thing that I've done, and I'm making my own comic book. Would you want to promote it? Let's, collaborate and let's come up with some covers. And I was like, sure. And then when he showed me his artwork, I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. And this is unique and this is different. So that's what I'm talking about when it comes to the unique style of certain people's, projects when it comes to Kickstarter.
That, and also it's so funny. And I've had conversations with my comic book store about this, where so many people go into the comic book store thinking the DC Marvel crossover is going to be the one that makes them money. Like, that's the spec book. But the Kickstarter actually is the spec book, because, again, like you were saying, Mark Spear's original Kickstarter book probably is running you thousands of dollars because so few people got it on Kickstarter. Let's say 400 people got it, maybe. That's a bigger spec book, because obviously it's very limited. That's how you get spec books. So if you're an investor in comics, and again, obviously I'm biased, but I recommend Kickstarter. And I'll talk about the Kickstarter I have currently, but I have a Sweeney Boo cover, Jess Fong cover. Like, those are going to do, if I'm being honest, better in the spec market than maybe a Catwoman issue 19 that they are printing a lot of. So, if you're an investor in particular, I really recommend Kickstarter, because that's going to get the fewer run. And also, when those Kickstarters launch and they eventually go into the direct market, a lot of times we have to change the cover. We have to change something about it to get into the direct market. So you are getting a different version on Kickstarter. It's more limited. Moving into Absolute Catwoman, which I thought was interesting to see, obviously, the numbers, but I also think it's very interesting that the absolute titles, I think, is the actual reason that younger people are going into the comic book store, because it's exciting, it's new, but it's also very easy to jump into. You can get,
absolutely,
Absolute Batman, that's
100%,
it. No. Yeah. And I think that's why it's doing so well. It's just like, there's hype, there's good writing, there's great art. It's just, I think it's just amazing what they've been doing and how DC's been growing with that. And I saw Tevi was like, is Marvel Comics screwed? No, I think they're finding other avenues, and I hope they utilize those avenues. Like the webtoon thing, I think, is very interesting. Obviously, DC did it first, but I think it's helpful that Marvel's doing that, and I want to see more of that. Do I think Marvel needs to step up? Yeah, like by a ton, but a healthy DC also makes a healthy Marvel, because people are going to be interested in other series. So I don't think Marvel is screwed. But yeah, I do think they need to step up a bit. But it's really cool to see how popular these absolute titles are. And something like DC K.O, again, I've seen personally with my own eyes new people coming into the store just for DC K.O. I will say a lot of spec buyers are doing it too, which is not as much as what I want for the hobby, but obviously, like, comic sales are comic sales.
Yeah, there's so many blind bags on eBay. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I noticed that when I was looking for images for the thumbnail today. I was like, man, so many links were headed to eBay. But yeah, for sure. It's like with the Absolute Universe, it's like the original Ultimate Universe, right? It's, it's a gateway for new people to try it out and stuff. And I was telling Kat, was it last week or the week before, that like a lot of the people that I watch are younger people that are, getting into comics. And I know we have some of them, watching our show too, some younger readers and stuff. So that's just cool. That keeps the medium alive. It keeps it thriving and stuff like that. So
yeah, and it's a fresh take on, and maybe a little bit more modern storytelling, and you don't have to go deep into that history on these characters that have been around forever. This is the perfect jumping on point for you. And I just think, like, it will be interesting, though, and I'm not gonna lie, like, how long does the Absolute Batman, Wonder Woman, and all that stuff go on? Because what happens if that ends to those newer readers? Are they gonna be like, oh, that sucks, now what?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if DC is smart, they'll find a way somehow to keep it going or whatever it is, because that's why when it comes to Marvel, you're kind of like, oh yeah, you got your Ultimate Spider-Man. It's the best book you have selling, and you're messing around by canceling it, so it's kind of weird in my eyes.
I think the answer to keep people going is good runs, right? Like, obviously the reason Absolutes are doing well is because they're good runs. But if you follow the Absolutes with, like, let's say the Cheetah and Cheshire book is a great example. A book that's like a 5-issue miniseries, 4-issue miniseries, but it's really good. Great artist, great writer. Keep doing stuff like that. Like Superman is another great example of a really, really tight run, but it's 30 something issues in, but it doesn't feel like it. If you continue doing that, your readers will stay. And I think that's why DC will thrive if they continue doing this. And again, why maybe Marvel hasn't been thriving as much because they had one run, they had Ultimate Spider-Man, and then they're like, well, I guess we're not going to build on this at all.
Yeah. Instead, they're taking the opposite, tact where they're trying to appeal to the older readers with all the nostalgia books.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that, and I just
interesting.
think too many miniseries. It's
Well,
like, 5 issues this, 6 issues this, and
that aren't
it's just-
distinct. They're not like the Cheetah and Cheshire book that are like a very distinct book. It's like, here's Punisher again, but only 5 issues.
yeah, and you're getting that with every series, and it's kind of weird. It's just like I get the occasional miniseries, like I'm fine, but like when most of your books are that way, it's kind of like, what's going on? Because you're almost at the point where you're like, well, what's the point of reading this if this is just going to end in a few months? Like, people want a story that's going to deliver and is going to continue to grow, and just things happen in it. When you have a 6-issue story, it's like, yeah, we're just going to tell our little story here, and then that's done, and it never really develops the character, and it never goes, it never does anything or accomplishes anything. And then there'll be another mini series with the same character, but they don't use anything that they used in the previous series, so there's no building blocks there.
A good example is Punisher, and I'm actually enjoying the Punisher Red Band, so like taking that away. But like, you did just have that Jason Aaron run, which again, people liked it, people disliked it, and this run has nothing to do with that. There's no building blocks off of it. It's just like, here's a new run, and it's just like, the only one I will give, and it's a reason why I've enjoyed this run a little bit more, is Stephanie Phillips' Spider-Gwen. I think it does a really good job at continuing things that happened before and trying to create its own continuity. Obviously, it's helpful that she's been writing each run, but I actually think that's a good example of like being new reader friendly. I think you could jump on if you've never read Spider-Gwen, but it doesn't feel like all that other history doesn't matter. Like, it's a balancing act. That's what the big 2 should be. Like, Superman is a good example of that. Joshua Williamson builds off of its own run, makes it new reader friendly, but still feels like everything that's happened in the past is important. Like something I don't really love. I don't love the Legion of Superheroes. I don't know much about the Legion of Superheroes, but this arc I still been enjoying because the art's really good. They're telling a new story, but still telling a story about the past. Like, you're making both fans happy. That's what a successful big 2 book could and should do.
But what's the point of, when you look at Spider-Gwen, how many volumes do we have of that series already?
And it's 7, I want to say.
There's no reason for Stephanie Phillips to technically reboot or restart Spider-Gwen. It's basically just continuing where it last left off. We had comic books for ages and ages where you had 100 issues, 125 issues, 150 issues. And you know what? People picked it up. They read it. They found their way. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. There's a new number one sell. I get it. But you're seeing it with every story. You're seeing it with Daredevil. You're seeing it with Moon Knight. You're seeing it with the X-Men. You're seeing it with Spider-Man. You're seeing it with everybody. Yeah. Every single character in Marvel is getting a restart.
Yeah, it's purely that, though. It is. It's the number 1 issue sell. That's why they do it. I think that's probably an editorial mandate.
I'd rather have an arc sell, though, because that's something that's, again, goes back to Superman. Like, when they had Lois have powers, they made a big deal about it. And like, you have to pick this up. And guess what? People picked it up. And it was still in issue 29. Like, people that might have not been reading Superman picked it up because they're like, I want to see what Lois is with superpowers. And they could do the same thing with Spider-Gwen. They're going to be, I mean, she's already in Earth 616, but it's like, she's in Earth 616 now. Issue 10. Let's do it. Just make your arcs bigger and better.
Yeah, and I agree. I think, like, if the creative team changes, it makes more sense, to relaunch it with a new number 1 and all that stuff, a different volume, that kind of thing. But if it's the same creator, I agree with you both. I think that would be the better route to go. Just, highlight that arc or whatever and say, you don't have to pick up the previous. You can jump on right here.
Yeah, it's very easy to be like, you can say on a cover, we've done it before. Jump on now. first issue of a new arc. You know, they did it for years and years and years when they used to tell the story on the cover. You know, it's just the way you would do it. I mean, it's just wild. And like, you know, people are like, well, it's a new number one. It's, you know, I feel that the new number one at this point, it doesn't mean anything. It's just, there's so many new number ones. It is what it is. I mean, I do my show based off of new number ones, but still, you know, the thing is there's so many of them. It's just like, my gosh, like really, you don't need to restart X-Men a year later.
This is an interesting comment on X-Men's point. Meyer says Marvel had an open audio meeting with their shareholders, and basically what was said with that being said was Age of Revelations was their way to launch all these number ones, which think about it. Yeah, like they probably did like get a little bit of a sales bump because people were like, I got to try the new title out. But I'm going to be honest with you, like most of those issue ones, I'm not getting issue 2 because I didn't like most of the issue ones. So they're going to see a big dip.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I think we kind of had an idea here. I mean, because at the end of the day, when it comes to those mini series, this is stuff that's taking place 10 years into the future while the Age of Revelation is going on, and you get to see all these other characters dealing with whatever it is that they're dealing with. But what is it going to matter? This is something that happens 10 years into the future, supposedly, and they're just going to go back in time like it's never even happened. So none of it's going to matter. So it's almost like, what's the point, really?
That's the very frustrating part of this event, which is why I've liked so few. Like, I'll probably get, like, again, Laura, I'm going to get. There's a book this week that came out that I'll get. But for the most part, it's just like, yeah, I just wanted my other series or do something new and fun with them. Like, this doesn't feel like it matters.
Yeah, that's the difference between this and, say, Age of Apocalypse, where it was an alternate reality and everything changed, but it did have repercussions that bled into when it got back to the main universe. It bled into that. It changed things. There were, you know, holdovers from that. And it doesn't feel like there will be from this. Maybe we're wrong, but it really doesn't feel like it. It feels like they're just going to undo all this so it doesn't happen and then go on from there.
It feels like they're buying time, which is so frustrating. And then it goes back to how many people are buying these issue ones compared to something like a Geiger or a Transformers or, again, an Absolute Batman, where people are consistently buying it and getting excited and lining up these Comic-Cons. You know how much money these I don't know how they split with creators in DC, but let's say creators in DC is making from just the con exclusives alone. I got a $60 cover. 2 of them, just because I'm like, I really like Absolute Batman. I really like how this cover looks. I'm going to get it signed. Like, lines and lines of people. That's so much money. That's money making instead of getting the $4 floppy that no one's going to want to get a trade of. So if no one's getting a trade of, you don't even have that market, which is more important. So it's just like, what are you doing? But the Absolute Batman trade, I am sure of it, sold tremendously. And that's what you want.
And, you know, when we talk about building stories, right? Like, look at Batman, for instance, Absolute Batman, right? It's like basically restarting Batman, but with a modern take, like we said, when it comes to the Absolute universe. And you look at how the story is building, right? You start with Bruce, and then you go to his family, and then you start going into his supporting cast, and then you start going into the more major villains. And just when you think there's not anything left to introduce, oh wait, just kidding, now we got Catwoman in there, and then next is Harley Quinn, and then next you're going to get introduced to Robin, and then you're going to get the other then you get Green Arrow, but then you saw what happened in the to him in the Absolute book there. I mean, villain book, just when you think you've seen it all, it just continues to build and build and build, and it and the way it's done, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see how it's all unfolding and how the universe is building. And here you get Marvel that starts something over. It's this small, and it gets to here, and it's like, oh, let's start again. Oh, no. And it's just nothing is developing out of it. And it's kind of sad, you know, because I love Marvel. We love Marvel. And it's just like, I'll continue to read and I continue to support because I love comics, and whether they're good or bad, I will always personally love discussing them. But when you look at the state and you look at how the independents are, and I said this in our group chat, I look at Image Comics right now as how Marvel Comics was in like the 60s and 70s and 80s, as they are booming, as they're just coming out with book after book after book after book. And just everyone is really enjoying a lot of their stories, right? And it's just like, I feel like that's what you want, and that's what Marvel is missing. And I want them to get back to that.
Yeah, and it's a shame when you get like small series that you really like again for me and Brant, like a Runaways that does feel like old school Marvel storytelling for the fans of those characters. And again, it's kind of a small, minute fandom. I get that. But guess what? Those fans are gonna buy everything that's attached to them. They're gonna buy the trades, they're gonna buy everything to make that book survive. So I feel like tell stories like that. Don't be afraid of telling stories like that, because that will help you to tell stories about Spider-Man and Iron Man if you take the same type of grace. Honestly, literally, Rainbow's writing a Spider-Man holiday special next month, and I'm gonna get it because I'm just like, it's Rainbow and Bob Quinn from Kill Your Darlings. Yeah, I'm more excited for that than the regular Spider-Man book. Because I'm like, that sounds amazing. Great art, great writer. That I'm so excited for that. Right. So yeah, it's very interesting that they take away like a Miss Marvel or a Spider-Gwen, because that actually is going to help you tell better stories with your flagship heroes. And I'm hoping like a Joshua Williamson with an Iron Man. Like I'm hoping with all my hope here and all my wishes that that's the run I want it to be. It's like I know they have it in them, and I've again never had Williamson let me down. And if Williamson lets me down here, I know it's Marvel's fault and not his.
You know, we're talking about series, right? And we're talking about like them ending. So for instance, we most recently had the Thing series, right?
Yeah.
And it was really good. Now 6 issues and it's done. Like, why couldn't 6 issues be a first story arc and continue that? Because a lot of people were talking about how much they really enjoyed that book, and then it just ends. So you get something decent and then it's over, and it's kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Especially because you have a Fantastic Four movie. You should at least have a little hope that a thing book would sell after they watch the movie, let's say. Or again, don't focus on the 200K right away. Focus on the 30K that really like this book. And then grow and be like, okay, why do people really like this book? Let's move on and try to do that with Spider-Man. You know?
Yeah, word of mouth. I mean,
word of mouth, exactly.
Yeah, how do people know that Thing is going to be good if you only have 6 issues of it, right? People
don't have time for a trade.
Absolute Batman is freaking badass because it was like, oh, look, Absolute Batman came out. And then word of mouth goes, oh, wow, Absolute Batman is pretty cool. And then it's like more people talk about it, more people talk about it, more people talk about it. It's just how it goes, man. But when you have something that's 6 issues and they just hear about it when it's like on issue 4, it's done already. They're not going to go after it.
And the boom didn't happen overnight with Absolute Batman. Obviously, us as Wednesday Warriors were really excited for it, right? It's like, okay, we're really excited.
Yeah.
But outside of the Wednesday Warriors, the TikTok people talking about it now, my friends that don't read comics that know about it now, is because of the word of mouth, like you said. Like, it wasn't from issue 1. It was from issue 8, 9, after people were talking about it and making memes about it. You know, my friend knew about it because she was saying like, oh, Joker looks crazy. How does he look like that? How's Batman defeat Joker? And it makes like a mainstream person interested in Absolute Batman, because you're like, oh yeah, how does a Joker that looks like that defeat Batman?
I want to address this comment. It's there's several of them, but it's from Meyer HQ talking about how Marvel's a publicly traded company. They have quotas and everything. DC's owned by Time Warner, so I mean it's the same thing. So you can you see what I'm saying? Like DC is under the same kind of umbrella, same
mandate.
Same kind of mandate, quotas, all that kind of stuff, and they seem to be balancing it a little bit better. So,
and the reason being is because of who's controlling the movies, and I hate to say that, but like because James Gunn loves the comics, I think that's why there's not as much of a mandate. If I'm being honest, it's just like, okay, like do your thing, keep like being creative because James Gunn's ahead of it. Because the movies do affect it a little bit. I think when Disney first like brought over, it's like Mickey Mouse is gonna be in our comics. But yeah, there is gonna be a little bit like Disney's gonna be like, this is the comic section. They're kind of bleeding into what makes our movies great. This is where we make our money. I think that's where it bleeds in. And James Gunn's like, do whatever you want. Like, I'm going to make a Woman of Tomorrow movie, which is crazy. And I don't love the comic, but it is crazy that a Tom King book that came out 5 years ago is going to be a movie. And they're directly taking from what's been going on at DC. And then also on top of it, selling those comics to you after the movies are out and making a big effort to do so.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. So let's get into a little bit more Absolute Batman, then we'll go to Webtoon. Robin will appear in Absolute Batman. We're kind of like dancing around that, but it shows like, yeah, we're getting that build up now. We're just building that world.
I think, is it going to be Tim? Is it Tim?
Let me see if they have. I don't remember if they mentioned
there was an Easter egg at one point earlier in early issues, and it showed a last name, I think, on a name tag. And I think he was like a delivery driver or something like that. And I can't remember what issue it was or if it said Drake on there. Like, I'm not 100% sure.
I do vaguely remember what you're talking about. I just don't remember either.
Or if it was Dick Grayson. I'm not 100%
Tim would be fun. I like that they're using Tim in general more. Like I also want to mention, I love the Matt Fraction run, like and again, it's only 2 issues in, but like that's another good example of a flagship book that's just doing so right. And I love that book, and I hope it continues to do as well as it does. That's again another example that you don't have to be Absolute Batman to still have a really good Batman book that seems like it's selling too. So I think that's cool.
The comment said Dick was like a nurse.
Okay, so it was Dick Grayson.
Yeah, he says as an ambulance driver rescuing people. So that's gonna be probably him then.
All right, let's get into our last topic here, which is the next wave of Marvel WEBTOONs. And I thought one in particular was very interesting, or even 2 of them. But you have Astonishing X-Men, the 2004 version, The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, Stitch Samurai, Star Wars Darth Vader, Black, White, and Red, and then Star Wars The Lost Stars. The thing that was most interesting to me was Squirrel Girl. Because that's the book that should be on Webtoon. That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
All the other ones, I'm like, I guess. I mean, maybe Absolute X-Men, because obviously it was Astonishing X-Men. I'm sorry. It was a big series when it came out, but also like Josh Whedon writes it. So that feels a little weird.
that is weird.
So that's a little strange that they picked that one.
I didn't even know they did a Stitch comic.
It looks like it's a manga book. So the other 2 are mangas, because I just looked at the covers. 2 are Star Wars mangas, which makes sense with the Webtoon platform. And then the other one is the short stories with Star Wars, which doesn't quite, I don't think, bleed well that much with Webtoon. I know, obviously, there's a lot of slice of life on Webtoon, but for a Star Wars book, that seems a little weird. But again, the one that makes the most sense to me is Squirrel Girl, because I feel like that will very much succeed on a Webtoon platform.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It does seem to fit that kind of vibe more.
Yeah. And you can find a really cool audience with that. That's what I'm talking about. Like, know your audience a little bit too.
Yeah.
They're probably throwing a wide variety of stuff out there to see what people are going to read. They're probably getting a feel.
Yeah. And I think it's pretty cool. Before we get into comics, I do have a couple of mentions here. I do want to showcase the Witching season. I was alluding to it earlier. If you are looking for a Sweeney Boo cover, Jess Fong, I'll show you that cover as well. Well, this is Skylar Patra's cover, and this is Jess Fong's cover. If you like witches, there's a lot of great creators attached here. Heather Antost. Who else is in this? I'm getting confused with the other anthology. Stephanie Williams, Alex Segura, Dan Parent. So many great people here. Paulina, who did a lot of did DC Comics Young Diana. So go check it out. It's 50% away funded already. It's only been a week, and we have a pretty large funding goal with 50,000. So that is pretty cool. And also to mention, some people have already mentioned it in the comments, but I was at the Ringo Awards because I was nominated for a Ringo. and I actually got one. So that was very, very
That's
cool.
really awesome.
So
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats
That-
again. for that.
Thank
Yes,
you.
absolutely.
Very proud of that. And it was a
Yeah.
great week.
All that work pays off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no, it was worthwhile for sure.
I watched the I think Julius posted the video.
Yeah,
of you guys.
probably.
Yeah, I think Julius. Yeah, posted the video of them receiving the award and going up there and giving the speech and everything and taking photos and stuff. It was really cool, a moment to experience. So that congrats.
It's funny because we were nominated last year and we didn't really know how the awards worked. We're just like, okay, like, are we gonna get it? And then we realized some people got answers like before the show had started. And I was like, oh, how did people know that they won? So this year I got an email where they're like, how do you pronounce your last name? I was like, oh, that's so strange. They didn't ask that last year.
Yeah.
So
You're
I
like,
was
there's
It's like, yeah.
So I'll say we probably we had a little inkling that it would happen. Last year we are like, we didn't plan as acceptance speech, but this year we are like, we should plan an acceptance speech. So I'll say we weren't as much on edge that we were gonna win because I think we had a little bit of an inkling, but it's really, really cool, especially being in a room like DC senior editor was there. Like it was a lot of cool people to be and a lot of people congratulating us that I didn't know. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, and a lot of after the fact too. So
yeah, I'll also add your speeches were really good and like the room like exploded at some of those speeches. So that was really cool,
Thank you. I think one thing I love about the
Ringos. Did you feel famous there at first?
Oh yeah. I felt a little famous for sure, especially after like leaving and you're like everyone's congratulating you, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, that's one thing I wanted, the hairology and this award, like a lot of people congratulated us, which was really cool. Like they wanted us to win, and I think because it is an indie crowd too, it's like they want the they want the indie book to win. Like our friends Joey Esposito, he used to work for IGN, he has done some DC and Marvel stuff, and Sean Van Gorman, who's done some Star Trek stuff. They have this book called Pedestrian, and they were up for an Eisner, and this year they're up for 2 awards, and I wanted them to seriously win because they are 2 of my favorite people in comics. Joey, I want to shout out because he actually was one of the first people to read a script of mine, and he actually gave real feedback, and he was very nice about it because we knew each other through journalism. So to see us like both like go up the ranks is really cool. But anyways, I was really happy to see them win. But the way when they won, everyone was going exploding. And then like same thing for us. A lot of people were clapping, which was really cool. And it wasn't just like, it was like a lot of people got excited, like just like Cat, Phil. And I was like, oh man, that's cool. What is the Ringo for? It's for Best Anthology. It was for about Transphoria, which was on Kickstarter. And I will say there was a lot more orders, which was cool after. And that book is doing so well that's almost out of stock, like literally in a year. And we got like 3,000 copies and just online orders. So that's pretty cool. Did anyone get slapped? No, not during that awards. Sadly, no one got slapped. It was a really cool night, and I'm trying to be thankful for it because it's like kind of doesn't feel real. So I'm trying to be like, oh yeah, like you're saying, Mike, all the hard work was worth it and is worth it, but also doesn't feel real still. So it's cool. But I wanted to share it with you guys because you guys all been part of the journey too and helpful, and can't wait to see what happens next.
I think we've all been there with you since you started writing.
Yeah.
In the very beginning with like father, like daughter, and the original publisher and all that other stuff. And, just to see you finally find your way and having a good partner and just you guys cranking out books and, growing on Kickstarter and all developing a presence there is great. And so, congratulations on that. It's really, really good.
Thank you. Yeah, and I appreciate it. And I'll say, like, for the viewers too, is possible to make a career in this. Like, that's something that's been really humbling, is that I make a very solid career just doing comics. Like, this is just comics. I do some consulting for like Kickstarter stuff, but that's mostly because I want to help people for Kickstarter stuff. It's not to break the bank. But that I make all my money through Kickstarter and through making my comics. That is my full-time job. So it is really cool that you don't need to work for DC and Marvel to make this a full-time job and make a good living off of it. So it's been very cool. And then, even same thing for you, Mike. You've been able to make this whole career out of yourself for YouTube. And then obviously, Brent, you've made a whole career for yourself with comics as well. So shows you can find your own lane.
Absolutely. I mean, I say it all the time. Like, I get to do the two best jobs possible, teach tennis, which is my main income job, and then doing this part-time, during the day. And it's like, I get to do two great things. And my wife is like, that's no fair. How do you get to teach tennis, which is what you love, and also talk about comics, which is also you love, and you make money at both? I'm like, well, I don't know, man. If you can do that in your life, that's what you got to strive to do. Try to do something that you love,
Yeah. And even if it takes you longer to get to that point, like me,
Right.
I worked in 9 to 5 jobs for years, and I was just unhappy. And so, and my wife never worked a 9 to 5 job in her life. She, fell into comics, doing, coloring and everything, and just we both kind of thankfully fell into that world and made it work, and got to the point where we could do our own stuff too.
Yeah.
And even a different path. My business partner, who just left his full-time job that pays well, like took, he's like, we're doing well enough that I can make this full-time now. So it's like it's cool to see that, even that pathway of like, he had very, established 9 to 5, and then like he took the leap of faith. It's like, we're doing well enough, let's just do this, him being able to do it full-time in a different way, so that's really cool as well. Like there's all different paths, which is and again, I want to inspire the people in the comments, because I'm sure there, you guys love comics. Maybe there's someone out there that wants to be involved in comics in some way. Again, we all started with this YouTube thing, but you could go into like comics journalism, editing. There's so many different places you could do lettering, and you can make a career out of it if and if you work hard enough, and also get to know people. I think that's really the answer. And even for this, like the way I was able to win this was, part of it was people knowing who I was, and getting the brand out there or whatever. But that's a part of it too. And the community is so open. And even the people like one of the coolest things was like Kelly Thompson congratulated me on my newsletter. Like she's like, Kat, I'm so proud of you. And I think Gail Simone did too. It's like, so the people that you even like admire, like will even notice, which is really cool. Anyways, that's the spiel about the Ringa. I wanted to mention. Thank you guys for the kind words. I really appreciate it. But now we're going to jump into our comics, which there were a lot of comics, but I will say I didn't love any of my comics this week.
Our topic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, and our topic, duh.
Yeah. We should talk about our topic.
It's so funny because the other talk lasted so long. I thought that was our topic.
Right? It could have been. Yeah.
It didn't plan on it. Yeah. But now we'll get to the topic.
Yes, I'm glad you remembered, or else we would have forgotten, and this thumbnail would have been a waste.
Right. So the topic of the day obviously is 2 weeks in a row now we've had blind bags. We had DC K.O, and then we also had the Mark Spears Monsters blind bag, and then a few weeks ago we also had the Batman blind bag, and then the first one to really kick it off was obviously the Invincible blind bag, or the Battle Beast one, right? And when the first one came out, the Battle Beast one, it was like a surprise. Nobody knew that really it was coming out, and there was only so many covers that came out, and it was just kind of like, oh wow. And then we kind of figured, like, you know what? I bet you other people are going to try
Batman announced it. I want to say like 2 weeks later.
Oh, it was very soon. Yeah.
And so now everyone's kind of doing it. Like Dynamite's doing it. IDW's doing it with Turtles, but I don't think all of them work. Right. So in my personal opinion, right, out of DC, Invincible, Mark Spears Monsters so far, personally, I liked the Mark Spears Monsters one. I'm not saying it because I have a working relationship with Mark. It's one of those things that is more like, it's not just cover to me. To me, it's almost like you have a set of however many covers he came out with. What was it, like 90 something of these covers? Whatever it was. Something. Right? Yeah. And it's like you almost are treating it like it's trading cards. Like, man, I want to get the whole entire set, whereas you look at DC and you're just kind of like, oh my gosh, it's the same exact cover, but it's only foil as the regular covers.
I will say the only because I have a little bit of a different opinion because the Mark Spears one, obviously, very happy it happened. I love
Yeah.
seeing indie comics succeed. But if I'm taking that away, the pulls were just okay. Like I had one pull that was like kind of rare, and then the rest were just regular covers. Granted, like you said, there's so many different
There's
covers.
so
Like
many,
everything is
yeah.
special. But I feel like this DC having the foil at least felt a little different than just getting the regular comic. And you could have gotten the gold foil or whatever, or the 1 out of 500 like I ended up getting. So I felt like that was something I liked
found
a little
out that
bit.
you didn't get that one.
Okay,
They
good.
have to
I'm
be.
gl-
They had to be gold. That's
Okay,
the
that
to
thing.
makes
be the
more
1 in
sense.
500. Yeah.
Yes, it
So
has to be gold.
even in the regular cover, whichever was, I like that it was foil. I enjoyed that. But yeah, the Mark Spears one, I think I got one that was rare. Then I got a double. I got 5, and I still got a double.
I got double too. I mean, they're like the regular card stocks are like 1 in 36.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna get probably quite a few, but you know, it's kind of funny how I was reading other people's comments online. Like, if you pre-ordered them through sellers, like people were figuring out weights and trying to
really?
figure it out, like which
Wow.
one was a foil and which one was not. And then they would sell them, you know, they would open them and then sell them online, or they would figure out which ones were just regular card stocks and then send them out, or
Wow.
whatever the case may be,
The
you
spec
know?
market really is
That's
crazy.
crazy.
That they're
Yeah.
weighing things.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's the worst
Yeah.
thing about comics. Honestly,
Yeah.
the spec market. Y'all almost kill the industry. Come on. No, I'm
Doing it again.
Yeah,
No, but
I'm
it's
just-
true. Like you
yeah, it
had
is
all those crazy covers, and I like it's fun. Like I like having these blind bags, but don't
Yeah.
ruin it. Don't let them sell out, and then actually no one buys them because you up the price so much.
Yeah,
Right.
I think.
Go
I
ahead,
was just
Brent.
gonna say real quick. I think the cat's point. It's because there were so many covers to get doubles with that amount of covers was a little surprising, and I get that with DC and Invincible, because there were less covers, it makes more sense. But yeah, I get that. But yeah, there were still a lot of really cool covers in that.
That's why I kind of like just spending $10 and at least getting a foil. So I was just like, okay, at least I got something different that I couldn't just get on the stand. But I could get all these variant covers on the stand, you know?
Yeah, there's positives and negatives with both.
Sure.
Mm.
Yeah.
I know, like, so like for the Batman one, right? I got 6 and I got 3 the
3.
same,
Yeah.
you know, and it's
I
kind
think
of
I
just
got
like,
2.
and it's just like, it was very frustrating that way. And it's like, me, I'm not a huge fan of foil covers. I really not.
They
like,
warp a lot.
it's not even that. It's just that if that sun or light does not hit that cover,
Yeah.
it can make for a very dull cover. And it's like, in very many ways, I rather see just a regular cover like this, because you can point out all the details, than sometimes the foil cover, you know?
It depends on the image and different factors and stuff. Like I did a foil cover a few years ago, a gold foil, and you can barely see the image on it. And I was kind of unhappy with the way it turned out. It's like, man, I wanted it to pop. It seemed like it would be a good idea for it and stuff, but sometimes the details get lost in it. So I get your
Right.
point with that.
I think a cool cover that is in the indie market more that is not in the direct market that I would really like to see is metal covers. Like that's something that's very heavy in the indie community and honestly is really good quality. Like in lenticulars, I really like lenticulars. That's something that sells really well for us. And I'll say lenticulars out of anything is honestly probably the best because metal covers kind of has the same thing with foil. Sometimes it's hard to see, but the lenticulars is really cool.
Yeah, sometimes the metal can get damaged in shipping too.
Yeah. So I think that could kind of be a cool thing but it's more expensive. That's the issue.
Yeah.
With obviously foil, it's a little cheaper to do, but then I would rather spend the money if it's a cool lenticular and that's in the blind bag. Give me a $10 blind bag and guarantee me a lenticular. That's kind of cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I like personally, I like paying $5 and buying more than paying $10 and knowing that, I don't know, that it's just me personally with the DC thing, because
and I get
you
that
can
too.
buy the regular cover off the stand as it is, and you buying a blind bag know that it's going to be one of those covers guaranteed, but it's just going to be a foil. and your top tier cover is just going to be the same thing, but in a gold. You know what
Well, I
I'm
think
saying?
they need to be better with their top tier covers. I'll say
I
Battle Beast did
agree.
a better job because I think there was like a sketch or something like that was really cool that they like
Like-
had a sketch within it.
Like I got the Mark Spears 1 in 700.
Mm.
It's
glow in
right
the
here.
dark.
I don't know if you can
Oh, no.
see it, but I got it's a glow in the dark.
Yeah. that
So I got a glow in the dark cover, and I also got a 1 in 700 Night of the Living Dead cover as
Mhm.
well. So I did get that. And then I got a lot of the regular
Oh, we lost
man,
it.
she just dropped out, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe
She's
she
like-
didn't like because I got the glow in the dark one.
Being
She's like, Mike got the glow in the dark.
my
I hate it.
my mic was like connecting to my phone for some
Oh,
reason.
that's weird. Now we can't see you. by
Now
the
we
way.
can't see you. We
You
can
can't
hear
see
you.
me?
No.
No.
I'm gonna go off. I'll go off.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so I just felt like there was a lot of variety. Now I'm not out there to make money off of these.
Yeah.
I
right.
just like collecting them, and I just
Same.
want the cool cover. As long as I don't get a ton of duplicates, that's all I care about.
Yeah, and I get that. I would prefer if like there were certain covers you could only get in a blind bag, like super rare ones. Like maybe they're very limited, but you get a chance at like a super rare, like
Mhm.
trading cards. Like you always have a chance at a super rare, foil and all this kind of stuff.
And that's what Mark Spears
Yeah.
he's trying to do.
Right. Yeah.
Right, because he's
I w-
coming out with all these different ones, and now there's another one getting ready to come out, which is from issue 8 of Mark Spears Monsters.
Gotcha.
And then you
Do you
have
feel like that's too much, or do you like that there's an issue 8 blind bag?
well, it's finishing the story,
Oh, so
issue
it's the
8,
end of the
and I
story
do
arc.
like, and he's coming out with that because there was supposed to be a Christmas one, and it wound up getting canceled or whatever it was.
Okay.
So I'm fine with it. And he made it a thing. He said on his Facebook page and I think Instagram that he's learned from the issues that he had in this one, and he's going to try to improve it on the next one. So he wants to make it a better experience for people. And they also had the golden ticket thing. So if you had a golden ticket in your comic, you had a chance to win a CGC graded comic from him as well.
Cool. That's
so
what
that was like a Willy Wonka thing.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of piggybacks on what I said to Mike while you were gone, Kat, was that I wish like some of them were more like trading cards where you had it like you had covers you couldn't get on the stands. Like you had that super rare, kind of thing like you do with trading cards and stuff. But
And now you got Marvel getting ready to do theirs, which is the for the Ultimate Universe.
We'll see how that goes.
They're saying there's sketch covers for that.
I mean, it's cool if it works out. I did get a few. I got, I think, 5 of those.
I think I got 3. How much are those, Kat? Do you remember?
No, I could look it up though. Ultimate Universe and blind bags.
With the Ultimate Universe ending, though, that feels less exciting. It's like, whatever, right?
Right,
that's my personal opinion. Yeah.
No, I don't disagree because it's like, oh, it's over already. The blind bags are a price. At least on Bleeding Cool, they don't have a price tag.
Of course not.
If you guys know in the comments below, let us know. But I'm guessing they're $10.
Yeah. Your mic is a little low. Are you hearing that?
I had to change my mic to my AirPods. I think that might be the reason why.
Yeah.
But
we can still hear you.
But I could change it to my Mac. Let me see if that's better.
It's just like you're a little bit in the distance. That's all.
All right, can you hear me better?
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well,
I just did it on my Mac instead. My mic blew off for some reason. I was like, oh, it's not worth it.
Gotcha.
But I mean, we'll see what the Marvel one is, and but overall, when the Battle Beast one came out, what did you think of that one? It wasn't a lot of covers, but
I think it was a surprise though, because it was the first time it happened, and it was just like, oh, this is cool. Like this is a cool concept. So I think it was fun because it's again the number one. I think if I look back, I got so many doubles for that too, and there wasn't. I didn't get no Marvel team ups. I didn't get anything.
It was kind of a two-edged sword. When it came out, it was like, oh, this is really cool, and the bag, it's the best bag of the bunch.
Yeah, it was.
I think it was awesome. But then at the same time, I was like, everybody's gonna start doing this now. And that was my first
Yeah,
thought. Like,
yeah.
really.
It.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was
No.
going to say that it's funny because a few years back we wound up getting the Walking Dead ones,
Mhm.
and we wound up getting the Harley's Black Book ones. Do you remember that?
I don't
Now
think
that
I
you
bought
mention
any of
it,
them.
yeah, I didn't buy any, but I do remember now that you say it.
So it's kind of funny how these ones kind of like, for some reason, just took off.
Well, it's because it was
I-
Invincible coming back after so many years, right?
Yeah, true.
I will say that I think DC and Marvel, or I think it's just been DC and even the Mark Spears one, has to avoid those black bags because they're not as good as the one from Battle Beast. It was just so well designed, the Battle Beast one.
Yeah.
The next one for Mark Spears is like blue and white.
I think
It
that'll
like
help.
it like represents like kind of winter,
Yeah.
creepy winter. So it's probably not going to be that way. It's not going to
Yeah.
like tear or make marks or whatever it is.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
just the black. It shows up so much easier on the black. I think.
Yeah.
Is what it is. So, for me, I didn't get any, and the reason being was just money. You know, it's like, can I get extra stuff on top of what I normally get? I did try to go back, you know, a week later to try to get DC K.O, and they were completely sold out of everything.
Oh yeah.
They
but,
were at New York Comic Con, some of them. I
Were
was
they?
shocked because I was passing one by, and me and Phil were passing by, and I was like, "You should get one," because I've been talking about DCK. I was like, "Oh, I'll get
Yeah.
one and see what I end up getting." So I saw
Yeah.
some of the retailers there selling it for $10 too. They're selling it for the
Oh,
same
that's
price.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, it was just purely that. It wasn't that I have a problem with it or that I didn't want them. It was just that, you know, I'd have to sacrifice this or that to get that and that kind of thing.
Sure.
And maybe I should have, considering, you know, some books I didn't like as much, but whatever. You know, we'll see what
You
happens.
don't know that until you read,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Right.
Just know that this is not the last time you'll ever see
Exactly.
a blind bag,
Absolutely,
right?
right? Yeah.
Exactly. You know, and again, I know some people think it's like, oh, it's a scam, it's this or that. It's just like
It is a
anything
gimmick.
else.
Yeah.
It's a gimmick. And, you know, when it comes to comics or anything else, you collect what you like. And
Yeah.
that's what makes this hobby so good. It's not just about the reading anymore. It's more than that. It's the great cover art. It is the reading. Some people like to obviously resell. I mean, there's all different types of things why people collect comic books, you know?
Yeah.
So
Me personally, I've always loved blind bags, blind boxes, mystery of it, mystery aspect of it. You know, you don't know what you could get. You could get some
fun.
cool. Yeah, it's fun. It's just fun. So I
Right.
have no problem with it.
Well, especially when you're on camera too. Like if you're doing
Yeah.
the show, it's kind of fun just to open up and like other
Right.
people see it. And obviously, it's not just this. Like you have like other blind bag things doing well
Yeah.
outside of
Right.
comics. So it makes sense that the trend is going into comics because you have like the Labubu's or whatever. There's other
Yeah.
things that are doing
Right.
very well that people spend a lot of money on.
Gold dolls and all that stuff.
Yeah,
from a few years
exactly.
ago. Yeah. Just, you know, kind of related. I shared with you guys. I got like a 5-pack of comics from Ollie's. I did do a TikTok opening that today. So if anybody wants to go check it out, I only get comics on TikTok. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's fun. Again,
Yeah.
it's especially when you get to put it on camera. I think it's
Yeah.
cool.
All right. Well, that's that. Let's hope that, you know, they'll probably ride that wave until it dies, right? And then, you know, they'll come up with something else, you know. So we'll see what happens. At first it was the variant cover, and then it was the 1 in 25 and 1 in 50 and 1 in 100, and now it's blind bag covers. So
That's what variant covers still sell too. So
yeah, they do, man. Giving people options to buy, you know. All right, so let's get kicked off with the comic books now. So
Speaking of,
yeah, top 5 guys. Here we go. Let's kick off with. We'll go with since Kat is in this conversation, the Amazing Spider-Man, newest issue. I like this issue.
I
I
remember
think.
what happened.
Well, this is the one about Norman. This is the street
Yeah.
level one.
Yes.
about Norman being attacked by the Goblin Slayer now.
Yeah.
And then hobgoblins at the end, right?
Yeah.
Right. And
right.
but it's not just that. It's more of a Norman Osborn story because he's being Spider-Man. And the thing that you get out of it is he's finally realizing like what Spider-Man really is. Like
Yeah.
it felt good for him to do good. He's not the Green Goblin. He's not the anti-hero Gold Goblin. He's Spider-Man. And people were like cheering for him that he was Spider-Man. And I'm led to believe going, man, I like this. He's like, I'm liking this. And
Yeah.
he's gonna feed off of that. And I don't think he's gonna want Peter to come back.
Oh, that's a good point.
I think go on,
Yeah.
Brent. you
No, go
go
ahead,
first.
Kat. Okay.
I was just gonna say I think it's going to be interesting to see where it goes, but I feel like the story potential is more interesting than the execution right now. It does feel very slow to me. Obviously it does feel better than what we've been getting because the art has been good. I've been liking that, but it's still kind of middle of the road to me. That's why I was like, oh, what happened to this? And I was looking, I was like, oh yeah, that happened. And there's nothing like in my brain that made me be like, oh my God, that happened. That was crazy. I liked last issue at least a little bit more because you had the interactions with the spider people that I thought was really unique. But we'll see where it goes. I think it has potential. It just didn't blow my mind for the way it was written. I don't feel like it blew my mind, but I think the ideas are interesting.
I actually really like the issue, and partly because of what you were saying, Mike. I like the realization for Norman that, especially, he goes out in the daylight instead of at night as he had been, and he has that realization of how heavy the weight of everything that Peter carries is, and how burdened he is to be a hero. But again, the adulation he gets and all that stuff from it is kind of feeding into him, and I just think he's finally understanding what he's been fighting against all these years. And then you had like the Ben side of it, and it seems like he's really liking Peter Parker's life as a scientist and all this stuff. So I think both of them are not going to want Peter to come back because they're both really enjoying their lives. Hallows Eve not too happy about it, but then there's an Aunt May factor, and Peter's not been communicating with her, and she has a conversation with Janine and all that stuff. There was a lot of stuff going on in this issue, and it wasn't like exciting. It wasn't action heavy or anything like that, but I think all those little pieces made it for a really interesting read for me personally. So, but I get what you're saying too, Kat, that there wasn't like the other supporting cast and all that stuff going on. So
my thing,
I know you guys still have Ben stuff too, because you have
yeah.
whatever, and that took up a lot of time in this issue where I'm like, I don't want to see him.
I'd rather see this side of it than the cosmic stuff.
I agree with
I agree too.
I could care less with him being in space with this Simbi person and Rocket Raccoon and his new little spider suit. Like, to me, that's just dumb. This is way more interesting. I could care less if we ever saw Peter again, and then eventually he just makes his return back
in the Marvel universe. Like, I don't want to see Peter ever again.
It's like, but it's like it probably would be better if you just like Hellgate destroyed him and you had no idea where he was.
Well, yeah, be Superior Spider-Man over again. You
got Peter and Ben going, trying to take his mantle, and then eventually he does make his way back. I think that might have been a more interesting story.
Yeah,
I don't disagree because then you have the mystery of what happened there. Then you're like, oh, why is he different? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I agree because I don't like Cosmic Spider-Man that much. And I like this more. I think it has potential. I just feel like the writing could be stronger. I think we're so desperate for a good story. It's like, oh my God, something happened. That if we get
that
so
may be
excited.
true, yeah.
But if you like look at it compared to an absolute Batman, it's like, oh, this is just fine.
Well, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Excuse me. Oh, had a rough day, let me tell you. Anyway, let's move on here. We got Wonder Woman issue 26.
I need to hear this because I actually stuck with Wonder Woman for such a long time, and now that you're reading it right when I dropped it,
I accidentally marked it. I did not buy it.
Oh, okay.
Because I think my shop. Oh no, I had a chance to buy it. One of my viewers was at the shop and said, don't read issue 26. The new character doesn't have her story arc, I think, until issue 30.
Yeah, no, there was no, I'll keep it very brief. This was purely a fight between Wonder Woman and Mouse Man. It
I hate
was
Mouse Man.
it
I hate
was yeah, it was the backstory of how he got to this island and how he took over the island, which was a little bit interesting. Just that they were trying to get away from all the heroes on this island, and he kind of used that to manipulate everybody and kind of basically become their ruler. And he has mouse DNA now. But anyway, it was just a fight between the two of them, and she realized that he was tougher than she thought it was. That's how it ended, basically.
Gotcha. I was happy that they gave me that
Yeah, for sure.
information. So I was like, oh, okay. Got a question, or it's just for your information. Anyone who's reading Ultimate books tomorrow, read Incursion before Ultimates.
Okay.
Really? Okay.
Thanks for
That's the Miles Morales one, right?
Yeah. And I think
I
it's the
don't
last
read
issue
that.
of
So what
it.
if I don't read that? Am I okay then to just read Ultimates?
Yes, it doesn't matter then, does it?
Yeah. I don't like the Incursion book with Miles Morales.
It's not great.
It's no.
Yeah.
All right. So I might check it up though. I might check it out though once again with issue 30 and see what that villain has to offer. All right. So now we move on to Invincible Universe Battle Beast Cat. The end of issue 6 of Battle Beast ties into Invincible.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I have to check it out then.
Yeah.
There
And
are
you're
characters. Yes.
You're at the end of it and you're just like, no way.
Yeah.
They actually went there with that, right? And then also another character that you thought died like way back when is going to be making his return also. I'm like, no freaking way. Like, how is that even possible? You know? So
yeah, it was pretty cool. It was just like the fight up until that point, to the last like 2 or 3 pages, I think. And then after that they introduced that aspect. They had that little Salaka like 1-page thing where he was growing his body back again and all that stuff. But after that, you had 2 pages of that, and it's like, okay, now I'm kind of sad there's a break because I want to read what comes next. But yeah.
Well, I know that Kirkman's also doing that Capes book too, so that comes out next month, which is, I don't remember that spin-off series because they're like, it's the return of Capes, and I don't really remember this.
I remember
book,
the name.
They're doing that.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Yeah, I don't remember the concept or anything about it.
I'll check it out though.
That's one I'm going to check out because obviously that's a part of Invincible. I mean, I like the superhero aspect of Invincible, so
right.
Oh yeah, I mean, I did like the battle between the two characters. I thought it was really good. She underestimated him, didn't think he was going to be as strong.
Yeah.
Just a great book, beautifully drawn. My gosh.
Yeah, and then we find out the brother is still, kicking.
Yes, I was like, what? I did not even expect that.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. So, with that being said, let's talk about our number 5. And Kat, I'll kick it off with you today.
My number 5 was Unbreakable X-Men. In another week, this wouldn't be here, but I liked that this had a little bit more emotion. So even if you don't love the universe, this had to do with Gambit's relationship with Rogue, and I like the art. I think it was familiar enough to what Dave Marquez has been doing. So I like this more than I expected to. Will I get next issue? I don't know. I'm not a huge Rogue and Gambit fan, but I think I have more of a chance to get this than some of the other ones.
I read this one digitally. I don't know, man.
You also don't like Uncanny X-Men, so that makes sense.
But it's just so random. It's like, oh, hey, Galactus is here, and it's like, why? No real reason, just here. And then she just like, oh, I'm going to defeat Galactus. Why? Because I can. She's gone again.
Yeah, we lost her again.
Absorbs my powers, and then
she's like, you didn't like it.
StreamYard,
Mike, I'm leaving.
Yeah. No. Second time around. Oh, I was jealous because of your 1 in 700 mark spears glowing in
now you don't like Unbreakable.
Unbreakable X-Men, so I'm gonna leave again.
That's it. Look, I'm done with the show. I love Unbreakable X-Men so much, Mike, and I'm so jealous of your cover.
And then he's like Galactus is in the ocean, and then he's going to wake up. It's like and then like Gambit just I don't know, just goes blind for no reason too. So like I don't know, it's just weird to me.
I think that was just
things
old
happen just because.
I like the story. I actually really like this story. I thought it was really emotional, and that's really the only reason that I liked it. And again, another week, this probably wouldn't be. This is actually my number 5 as well. This wouldn't probably be there either. But yeah, I really like the touching story of her sacrificing herself and then him grieving her throughout the rest of the issue. And it just, I don't know, there was something emotionally powerful about that story.
Exactly. I just felt like I had. I think because it goes back to the Amazing Spider-Man thing. It's like, are we comparing this to Absolute Batman? Probably not, because Absolute Batman is so much better. But I'm comparing this to every other Revelations book. I'm like, oh, it gave me something. Everything else has given me honestly absolutely nothing. So this gave me something in the story. It's funny. Crypto said, "Wow, an Age of Revelation book for both of us in our top 5." Also, what sucks is there's so many of them. So they're going to end up in your top 5 most likely. And for me, like I said, I had a pretty mediocre week. I don't think I loved any of my books this week. My number 1, I was like, oh, it was solid. But this week wasn't the greatest week.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So that was your number 5 too?
Brent? Yes, it was.
All right. Well, definitely freaking wasn't mine. So
yeah.
That's how I feel about that. My number 5, I had a little struggle picking my number 5 because my number 5 and number 6 were pretty close. But it was Incredible Hulk issue 30. I've read the past couple of issues in it because I wanted to know like how he got to become the Infernal Hulk. And
did you find out
the story? Yeah, you do find out in this one for sure. Bruce Banner gets ripped out of the Hulk from the Eldest, which was pretty intense. And then you wind up getting like that beautiful artwork from Nick Klein. Finally, he was, he does the artwork in here. And then you wind up seeing the Hulk become this Infernal Hulk. And it's not Bruce Banner. And it's also not the Hulk anymore. So it's this eldest creature or whatever it is that is now the Hulk, and Bruce Banner is stuck in this realm, in a completely like different realm, and somehow now I don't know what's going to happen to him. So
we'll find out in issue
if you're expecting to jump on a new Hulk book and expecting it to be Bruce Banner, it's not going to be him. It's something completely different. So definitely a new status quo here.
I like this issue. I have been reading, believe it or not, I've been reading Incredible Hulk since issue 1. I have not dropped this book. There is something about the writing I like. There is something I love, obviously, the art when we get this art. I'll say this has been building up. So there's some parts that I felt were a little repetitive, but I'm interested to see where it goes. This is my number 7. Like, I did like it. Yeah, like I've been liking this series enough to keep it on my pull list. It hasn't been in really my top 5 in a while, but I do like the book.
I think I dropped it after issue 2, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll say it's definitely not your vibe. I don't think the next one will be your vibe, but I don't think you'll like it.
I was thinking about trying the new one, but now, it's not even him. It's like, do I want to? I don't know now.
You didn't even like Immortal, though. It's very similar to Immortal Hulk, except I do think Immortal Hulk is better. So if you didn't like Immortal Hulk, you're not going to really like this.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which is also what I like about this run. Again, it's the complaint I was having where it's like, oh, you had a great run like Immortal and you forget about it. Like, I think this book actually does a pretty good job at remembering the things from there.
And that's cool. Yeah. I'm glad you all are enjoying it. I wish I had a Hulk book to read.
I know. Well, Planet She-Hulk comes out, so you might be able to pick up that at least.
Hulk smash the Marvel Universe. Pick that up.
There you go.
That's what I've been recommending to people because this is not your typical Hulk smash Bruce Banner book. This is, in that same realm, like Kat said, like Immortal Hulk. So if you don't like that, you're not going to like this, and you're not going to like probably Infernal Hulk until he gets back into that body.
Yeah, it's the exact same creative team too. Okay. So if you don't like what it was, it's the same book, like we've been saying. They just relaunched it to issue 1.
Yeah, exactly. Gotcha.
All right, so let's move on next to Let's see. Where are we gonna go here? We'll talk about Brant and I's GI Joe issue. What'd you think, Brant? It's kind of like a one-off. What'd you think about this one?
I thought it was a decent read, and obviously not the best issue of the series, but
Right.
I like the introduction of the character. I thought that was fun. The best part of the issue, though, was the end where we got what was going to happen with Major Blood, and him bringing.
You see him, man? I was like,
Yeah,
what the heck?
yeah,
How
I
does he
know, but
see?
yeah, he's got some kind of cybernetic eyes now because they cut him out. But yeah, it was an okay issue. It
Yeah,
wasn't. It was basically just to introduce Shooter, which she was pretty cool, but
exactly. Yeah. And now
not
we'll
much
get
to
things
it.
going with the whole Dreadnought War too at the,
That I'm excited about. And
right.
like looking at the cover, there were some characters I didn't recognize, and I'm like, you know what? We talked about Mask last week. There's a character on there that has like blonde spiky hair and he's on a motorcycle. I'm like, there was a Mask character on Venom that had spiky blonde hair and drove a motorcycle. I wonder, it's possible,
Maybe.
it's possible.
Maybe they could introduce it through Transformers. I mean, GI Joe before Transformers.
They could. I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll see.
Yeah,
But
we'll
I'm excited
definitely.
for it either way. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the issue. I thought it was fine. It
Yeah.
was definitely not one of my favorite issues from the
Right.
series, but it was still enjoyable read. There's
Yeah.
never a bad issue of GI Joe,
No.
right?
And 12 issues in, this is probably the lowest, and it was still a good read. And there was
Right.
still stuff I enjoyed in it. So yeah.
100%. All right. So let's talk about Absolute Flash issue 8. This was a solid story too, because we finally get a dive into like the history of like Barry Allen, how he got recruited, his relationships, just all these different things that was going on, and the Speed Force and all that stuff. So like I really
Dawn's
like that because like
granddaughter was in this too. It was
yeah,
like, oh,
Yeah.
what's she gonna do? Is she gonna be a villain? Is she not? Like, because obviously she's not Thawne, but she is Thawne.
Did you
right.
And the
did
art's
you
good. That's it. You got to keep this artist.
yeah, did you read the Absolute Villains book, Cat?
I did.
Okay.
Absolute
Yeah,
in
Evil.
that.
she was in that, yeah.
Oh, was she? I don't even remember
Yeah.
her. What was her role in that?
I mean, she was at the round table with all the villains. She was in the
Oh.
room with all of them.
She was
Yeah.
in there with like Joker and
Well, I guess
Ra's
no. We
al
know what she's doing
Ghul.
then.
Yeah, she's part of the main crew there.
I mean, I really like this. I like Absolute Flash. I know everyone again gives it a hard time, but I think it's a good book, especially when it's this art style. I think it moves really well. Again, I like the Barry stuff. I think it's a great story.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really like the way that they tied it all together and the reason that, Wally was so important to this. I like the storytelling, the way that they've kind of structured this to where we went back a little bit to tell what's, how the importance of these characters and how they all connect to each other.
Yeah. Adds a little more depth to the story,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think that's what the story actually needed, right?
Right.
So it's good that we're moving in the right direction here. I'm happy
Absolutely.
about
No
that.
pun intended.
Truly, no pun intended. All right. And then we get Iron and Frost issue 1. I think all of us here were kind of highly anticipating this one because we liked Tony and Emma's relationship here.
Yeah.
And I thought this one was pretty good. I love the artwork. I thought the artwork was solid here. We get to see kind of like you go right into it, right? Because you don't have time to really fart around with the story. It's like 3 issues, that's it. And so it's like Emma gets into a bad fight with Morrow and she gets stabbed and she'll die. And if she doesn't go into her diamond form, right, she will die. And Tony went looking for her, but had to retreat, never came back because he wound up changing, I guess, in himself too.
Mm-hmm.
And so Emma comes back and I don't know, where are we going to go from here?
I feel like this is the only Age of Revelations book that I actually want to read issue 2 because I liked it, because I liked Emma a lot here. I enjoyed that there was a cliffhanger where you're like, I want to see what happens next. Everything else is just like, I guess I'll read this. Like so far, the only one I think I'm continuing is the Laura one because I'm like, oh, I know it's gonna be connected to the next series because it's the same writer. So I was like, I'm curious where that's gonna go. And this one was the only one where I'm like, I genuinely really like Emma, and I like the ending of this issue. Also, interestingly enough, it's the same writer who did Unbreakable, Gwenpool, which I really liked. So, yeah, I like this issue, and the art was really solid.
Yeah, I like the issue as well. It's kind of like the God, I had a point and I just lost it. Lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
The worst.
Give me
It's
a
like
piece.
the
Wow, my brain just went silent. Oh yeah, I like the way that they both realized how much they actually cared for each other. In that moment where everything kind of went dark and went bad and everything, and Emma's kind of feeling, reading his mind basically, and she sees how much he cared for her, and she's realizing how much she actually cared about him, and all that. That's where I was going with that. I thought that was pretty powerful in that, and then of course it led to everything.
Gotcha.
Interesting visuals for Iron Man at the end of that too.
Yeah,
Very
I agree.
curious, like what happened.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of like he almost looks like Emma. He's like crystallized, and it's kind of like, okay, that's weird. All right, so let's go on to number 4. Brant, you have a number 4?
Mine was Absolute Flash.
All right. What about you, Kai?
Mine was Power Rangers Prime issue 11. It's, again, if you've been enjoying Power Rangers Prime, you're going to continue to enjoy this. It progresses the characters. I like Lauren's background in particular because it played out with the Power Rangers Samurai stuff. So it's a solid book. And again, Power Rangers continues to be consistent.
Nice.
I'm behind.
All right, my number 4 was Blue Falcon and Dynamite issue 2.
That's Jimmy Palmiotti, right?
Yeah. It's a good book, man. It's just like a little bit more serious tone than what you would get from a Hanna-Barbera cartoon, and it's an origin story of Blue Falcon and Dynamite. And the first issue was very intense, where Dynamite was a normal dog and he gets shot, and you get to see Blue Falcon try to recover his dog, try to make him into, like, bring him back to life. And obviously, if you know who Dynamite is, he's like a robotic dog, and he's kind of trying to bring him back to life. And then at the same time, Blue Falcon is trying to find the people that actually shot him. It was, again, very intense second issue, and definitely looking forward to it. Something happens to Blue Falcon at the end of this issue, and it looks like Dynamite is going online. So really good book, dude. I am surprised that this is as good as it is.
I think this issue was better than the first issue for me. And I guess it was just the emotional, the intense emotions involved here, because he's on a tear to find these guys, because he keeps telling everybody that's asking him, what do you want? He's like, they killed my dog. And, he's going crazy about it, which, justifiably so. And so that made it a stronger issue for me. And obviously the visual of Dynamite coming online on that last page was really cool. Some lettering errors in this one that just as a letterer I noticed really stuck out to me personally, but really good book. It surprised me as well.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, so let's move on to, I guess we'll talk about Titans issue 28. So what do you think about Titans, guys? I thought this was a very slow issue. I was expecting a little bit more out of it. I see what they were going for with the emotional aspect, or the emotional toll that it's taking on the Titans on evacuating Earth. But besides that, I got nothing here.
No, I think it goes back to all the reasons why we dropped Titans in the first place. So it's just like, oh, if you've been enjoying Titans, you'll like this tie-in. If you, like 3 of us, dropped Titans, there's a reason why we dropped it. And I also feel like sometimes Wood's artwork with their facial expressions is a little weird, but I probably won't get the next issue. I'm like, all right, kind of, you know, especially because I want to try other DC K.O tie-ins. Like I'm going to get Justice League Unlimited next week because I'm like, I haven't read that in a while. I want to see how it ties into the event. So I want to get other stuff. So this one will probably drop off my list pretty quickly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was slow. There wasn't a whole lot to it, but I did like it. This is actually my number 6.
Uh-huh.
And I like it because the characters, the Titans, they were like basically saying their goodbyes to each other. And again, it feels like it was like a heavy emotion week this week, especially for me. As I'm reading like several of these books, I've pointed it out. There's just this emotional connection to me and some of these characters and some of these stories and stuff that has stood out to me. And in this one, it wasn't as powerful as some of the others I've talked about, but I still felt it. And that was the aspect of it that I liked. But yeah, I would have preferred a little bit more because it was just kind of like a point A to point B. We've got to get all these people off the earth, you know.
Right.
But yeah, so
it was like reiterated like 1,000 times. It's like, we get it. You got to evacuate the people. Shit, it even told us in the synopsis of the book that that's what they have to do. So I was like just expecting something a little bit more, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, in another week again, it would have probably been much lower. But yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So let's talk about I know Kat and I read Mark Spear's Monsters.
Which is the first time I've read his book, which was interesting. I kind of agree that the writing could be a little stronger. I know you said that in the past about the book, and it's interesting because I think his art works so well as covers, and I think sometimes in the art in the interiors it doesn't feel as kinetic. It feels a little bit video game-ish, which is not a diss. It's just like wasn't the style I was expecting in the book. So I don't know if the story really did it for me, but I'm glad that it was really unique looking, and it at least in that regard, I think is worth picking up. But for me, who kind of dives a little bit more into story, I don't know if I'd get the next issue.
I felt for a first issue, I thought it was a little bit slower, and I would have liked to seen a little bit more action.
The monster doesn't even show up until the end of the issue.
He has put more action in his books previously. And I've said it. I've said his writing is not as strong as his artistic ability. But you can tell, though, he likes to tell his story through his visual story, through the visual aspect of it, right? So that's what you hope for. I always like looking at the visuals in there, and it kind of reminds me when you read his books of almost like a horror story. Like it just has that
uncanny,
that feel, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, certain creatures show up, crazy, weird facial expressions, can be gory, you know, and that's why I like it. And it's unique, you know, it's like when you see his art style, you know, it's him, right? So, but I did like the book. I did like the Wolfman showing up in there. He's trying to find a cure for himself, and the scientist is, you know, trying to capture him. And he's just like, I'm telling you, you need to leave. I'm warning you because you're not going to like when I break out of here, you know? And he's like, yeah, whatever. And then the next thing you find out, like Frankenstein comes and he like rips off his arm, you know? So it's kind of cool that way. You know, I did like it, but I have read better, and I'm curious to see how it's going to continue to evolve here. All right, so let's see where we're at now. Number 3. Kat.
Mine was Terabytes issue 1. This is the one that Brant recommended last week, and I liked it. I don't know if I'll continue to the next issue just because it is an anthology, but it was about this world where there's VR goggles and you get to plan your death pretty much. So if you're dying, it doesn't have to be so bad. And obviously Mark Russell has always a commentary with that. And I liked it enough. I enjoyed this issue in particular. So I'm curious to see if I'll get issue 2, but I like this. And I know next week Thanksgiving comes out, and I'm like, oh, that looks interesting too. And I always like his humor.
Thanksgiving, I'm gonna check out. It sounds interesting. I did read this, and I thought it was well done, and the commentary was, you know, delivered as well as it could be. It just wasn't for me, I don't think. Um, I didn't like it as much as I've liked some of his other stuff. And
Mhm.
Mark Russell is one of those writers for me that it's very hit and miss. It's like when I like his stuff, I really like it. When I don't, I really don't. But this was kind of in the middle for me. So it was like, I get what he's going for and everything. I just don't think I was the reader for it. But yeah, still a well done book.
All right. Let's see. Where are we at now?
Take,
Lost my-
your number 3?
My
Mike?
number 3?
Yeah.
Flash.
No, you and Brant. I think I was the only one who did my number
Oh.
3.
Yeah, I haven't done.
Yeah,
Brant, what was yours?
Mine's Iron and Frost, so we already talked about that.
Okay.
And then yours
Mine was Flash.
Okay.
I was looking at the document. I
I was like, wait.
totally lost my thought. All right. So now let's talk about, you guys can talk about Rogue Sun. I did buy it, but I bought it for the variant cover.
Okay.
And it was a homage to
Spawn.
Or the Spawn, which that was an homage to Wonder Woman. So
Yeah.
So yeah, but I got that, but I didn't read it.
This was probably one of my least favorite issues of Rogue Sun, if I'm being honest. I don't really love Spawn that much, especially medieval Spawn. I don't like medieval stories. And they focused on the medieval aspect of Rogue Sun, which is my least favorite aspect of the series, so it was just not for me. But I hope that it got people into Spawn or got people into Rogue Sun, which is obviously the point, but it is not written for me.
Well, the funny thing is that the magic side is my least favorite, like when they go into that realm and everything. I liked it, but I didn't love it. And it was just like completely disconnected. It was like basically the year one of Caleb, the medieval guy that is in the sister's armor now. But it also seems to be a prelude to some kind of Rogue Sun Spawn thing they're doing next year.
Yeah, and if that's a miniseries, then you could decide if you want to pick it up or not.
Right. So yeah, this was just kind of setting that up. So it was a skippable issue for anybody that just wants to continue on the main story. This is completely all about Caleb. So yeah, but it was good for what it was. But.
Awesome. And then we got a comment here. It says, "What up? I enjoy your vids. I'm new to the comic book world. I think the blind bags are cool. Hey.
Like it.
Welcome. Thank you for watching and, enjoy this hobby. And we're here to answer your questions any way that we can for sure. All right. So let's see. Now we're at Rogue Storm. Issue 1.
I skipped that one. That was one I was like, I don't need every Revelations book.
I don't know why I clicked this. Maybe I thought I was going to read it and I never did.
Same thing.
There you go.
Like I clicked.
Oh, you guys did not read. That's funny.
I don't think I read it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't read it.
I was trying to rack my brain, like, what happened in this book? And I'm like, no, I don't think I read it.
Yeah.
Well, that's how forgettable that book is, that they didn't even remember if they read it or not. So let us know in the comments if you read Rogue Storm and if it was worth it. But all three of us did not read it.
Sorry.
That's funny. All right. Brant, you have a number 2?
Yeah, Battle Beast is my number 2.
Nice. What about you, Kat?
Mine is Absolute Flash.
Mine is something I'm curious. I don't know if anybody read it, but I picked up Batman Superman World's Finest issue 44.
I did not,
it.
but it looks like Brant did.
Yeah. I read it because it was Supergirl and Batman.
It was
Robin
Superman.
Again.
Yeah, Supergirl and Robin.
Oh, they're
teaming up
continuing
again.
That's cool.
Yeah. And this was a awesome issue because
I forgot I read it, and it probably would have been my top 5. Sorry to cut you off, Mike. Yeah.
Because what's it called? They team up. Batman sends Robin out on a mission to go out to a Lex Luthor affiliate to go get some files or whatever it is, right? Yeah. And so Superman sends Supergirl to go keep an eye on him, and she's like, really? I have to go keep my eye on this guy. She's like, this guy's a joke. And she goes and she's following him, and he's driving in his little Robin mobile, and then he goes out onto this mission, and he totally screws it up, right? And so Supergirl has to intervene, and they get captured. she's held down by kryptonite chains, and they're like
Yeah.
backs are against each other.
She
You
was
know,
like, please don't let me be tied to Robin. Please don't let me be tied to Robin. Please don't let me be tied to Robin. Oh,
yeah.
it was that
It
kind
was
of
it
thing.
was
Yeah.
so funny. And then they wind up doing this mission, and like Supergirl is kind of like, wow, he kind of is a badass, isn't he? And so by by the time you get to
Oh,
the end
this
of
was
it,
hilarious.
they're making out in the car.
Yeah, they just show
And-
the car and they keep like getting further and away from it, and the alarm's going off.
Yeah, they're like, what is this? It was like some kind of button, and it like
Yeah.
calls Batman in case
Some
he's
kind
like
of
in an
beacon, yeah.
emergency. And they're in the car, and get the window gets shattered, and guess who's in there? Kara and Tim are making out in there, and both Batman and Superman are there. Absolutely hilarious. It's
They
the
both,
I
reason
think it's
why I picked
crazy
it up.
they're continuing that too, because that
Yeah.
was like issue 2 that they went on that
Yeah.
bad first date, and now
they,
I guess
well,
they're together, but not in this universe. That's the part that a
Yeah.
little bit confuses me in what universe this is. But
Batman and Superman talk about it at the beginning because he's like, I know they didn't hit it off, they don't get along, but
Mm.
you know, I think you might need the help and yada yada and all this stuff. And then like when he burst in, they're both like, we're not dating. It was funny. It was fun.
I'm
Yeah.
glad.
Issue.
I really liked that when it came out like
Yeah.
10,000 years ago. So I'm glad they
Yeah,
continued it.
if you did buy this one,
Yeah.
you would
Oh, I'm
have
sure it would have been
Yeah,
my
I
number
know
one,
you would've liked
honestly.
it. Yeah.
really, it probably would be your number one.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. And you want to talk about a good like palate cleanser? That
Yeah.
was it right there for sure.
I think I'm gonna completely bump my number one and just make that my number one.
There you
Just
go.
because I forgot to even write it down. Yeah.
All right. So let's see. That was our number 2, right?
Yes, that was our number 2s.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or-
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we're
now
on, I
we'll
think,
move on
yeah.
to Sinister 6,
Yeah.
issue 1. That's the other Age of Revelation book. I did read this one.
I did too.
It was fine. I mean,
It's just
the-
boring.
the one thing though that I liked
Mhm.
was that, you know, you talked about emotional things that went on, like something that had meaning,
Mhm.
was that Alex was in here and his son was kept in captivity while this virus is going on.
Yeah.
And obviously he's doing what he needs to do so he can have his son protected, right? So his son doesn't die. So that's the only thing that I got out of this that I really liked. And then you got
Yeah.
Sinister, who obviously he wants to control the world instead of
Yeah.
Doug, right? That's
Right.
it.
I just thought
My-
they could have done more with the ensemble. That was the thing I think
Mhm.
I was most disappointed with.
Yeah, and it's like I was excited to see Misty Knight and Colleen Wing, and then to
Mhm.
realize they're just kind of throwaway characters to get the
They're
Venom.
just, they're
Yeah,
nothing.
it was just like, oh man, that made it less interesting. I do like some of the other characters that are on the team, but again, it like you all said, it was kind of boring. You know, Alex's reasoning and everything was good. That was fine, but yeah, I don't know. I just wanted a
Nobody
little
else on
more.
that team has any like real
Personality.
reason to
Or
even
reason.
be there.
Like, why is Black Cat acting like this? Just because she got some powers, now she's twisted? That made no sense to me.
And they don't even
Yeah.
explore that. It's like, oh, she looks a
Yeah.
little different now.
Right.
Yeah, it just didn't give me enough for issue 2, and that's what I keep saying. Like these Age of Revelations books, besides Iron and Frost, that's the only one where I'm like, oh, I'm kind of curious where issue 2 goes. Other
But
than
that's the-
that, again, I'll get the Sabretooth book because at least it's gonna go into another series.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
just like-
problem, Kat. They don't have the time to explain why
Yeah.
things happen. They don't have that time. They only got 3 issues. So, like, yes, we know Black Cat became the way she was because of the virus, because it either
Yeah.
kills humans or it makes them into a mutant, right? But it doesn't say like why is her personality the way that it is now. Like
Right.
they don't have that time to flesh
But
out.
they
the
don't have as
character.
big of ensembles. I think that's been the biggest problem. Why, again, a book like Iron and Frost worked a little bit more because there's only 2 characters. So you get
Exactly.
to explore a bit. Or
Yeah.
even something like the Unbreakable X-Men that me and Brant liked enough is that it only really focused on Gambit. So you get
Yeah.
a character story of some sort. So when you
Yeah.
have all these characters like Venom and Black Cat, it's like, why? Like, I don't know. And make an Alex book. That would be better.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree.
Yep. All right. All right, and then we'll dive into our number one. So, Kat, what was your number one?
Mine was Iron Frost because, again, it was the only Revelations book that felt like it made sense. I enjoyed it. I thought there was good art, but again, in another week, this probably been like number 5. Like I think it
So,
would have
like
made my top 5.
last
Like
week,
yeah,
for instance, it would never even come close.
Yeah,
last week it wouldn't even be in the top 5. It'd be like in the
Right.
middle of the road. But because this is such a lackluster week, this ended up being my number 1. Which again, not a bad book. I just don't know if it's like number 1 material, but like
Yeah.
it was.
Wait
I
to the week
recommend
of the
it.
29th.
Is it bad?
Yeah.
Not tomorrow, but next. Oh man, there is some. There
That's
ain't
gonna be fun.
anything hardly at all. It's going to be a rough week that
I
week.
think I remember that, and I'm like, shit. Tomorrow there's like a decent amount of books.
There's some,
but
yeah.
Yeah, nothing that's like huge, but there's like some, DC K.Os. Yeah, the 29th.
Yeah.
I'll say at least you have the Batman annual, which has the Daniel Warren Johnson book.
Probably about it, man. I mean, there really isn't that much. There's other Age of Revelation stuff, but besides, I mean, there's
Me
not
and
much.
Brand have Runaways. That's all I can.
Yeah.
That's all I see. That's gonna be a hard week. But yeah, no, this was just like it happens. But like something like last week, it was so hard to pick a top 5 because there's so many good books. Just happens that way.
So Brant, yours is officially World's Finest, issue 44.
But what was your original number 1 then?
Amazing Spider-Man, actually, just because it's one of those factors where a lower week, and also that I am surprised I'm enjoying that story at least as much as I am. So,
my number 1 was actually Battle Beast.
Yeah, which I figured.
I figured that.
Yeah. So
I'm surprised. I'm upset that G.I. Joe was so bad for you guys because that was one where I was like, oh, I don't read that. Maybe that'll make their top 5. But then, like you guys said, it was just okay. So
it was fine. It was a good story. It just wasn't like it's not like a level like it usually is, like that top tier,
Right.
But there has never been. I've never said though that there's been a bad issue of G.I.
No.
Joe. Yeah.
No. It was definitely still good. Just wasn't as good.
All right, Brant, I'm going to pass the baton to you now. You're going to talk about the top 5 here. I mean, the most anticipated. Sorry.
Yeah. So, let's see. Where do we want to start this week? I will start with The Flash, issue number 26, which I don't think you're not actively reading that series, right?
That's just for the tie-in.
Just for the tie-in.
Yeah.
I just want to see, because you're getting a different team on this book.
Right.
Who is I'm gonna look it up. Who is the team if you remember?
I forgot.
Totally forgot. Let's see. It is Mark Waid and Chris Cantwell too. Okay, that's interesting. And it's
a solid team,
and it's an Impulse issue. Honestly, I'll add it too. I might add that one. I'll read it digitally.
I'll get that as well then. I didn't realize it was a different team.
Me either.
I just knew it was tying in. Yeah. That's cool. All right. And anything else to say about that one, Mike?
No, I'm just excited to see how it ties in what the Flash how his role is in here, because he technically is not in the tournament. Like it
looks like it's Impulse though. It's not. It doesn't look like it's a Barry driven issue. It looks like.
But I think he is going to be with Impulse as well.
That's cool.
I think they'll both be in there.
I'm trying to see if there's like a preview. I want to see. Yeah, there is. Let's see who shows up in there. Yeah, it looks like Barry's in the beginning part of it. So, and the art looks decent. So we'll see. I look. It's like the Titans one. If I don't like it, then I won't pick up the next.
Right.
Issue.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, and then we'll move over to Cats with It Killed Everyone But Me, issue 2. This is from M.A.S.K. I don't remember if you read it, Mike, but I know that Kat and I really enjoyed that.
I did.
Yeah. Okay.
I was gonna say I recommend it if you don't, because it's Final Girl, Ryan Parrott. What happens to the final girl after the killings are over, and that's
he was the one that was trapped. Like she had something happen to her.
Yeah,
like when she was really young, and it was I guess there was this monster, and now it's coming back. Like
and her daughter is being affected.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
If it's at the shop, second issue, I'll buy it. I didn't put it on my pull list yet because I needed, like, I liked the first issue, but I wasn't like in love with it, so I needed another issue to see if I'm going to continue to read it or not.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. And then my number 3 is Omega Kids. And just a reminder to everyone out there,
That was close for me because of it.
most anticipated is not necessarily the ones you are excited about, just the ones you're anticipating.
But Tony Fleeks is writing this, so
yes,
that's
and
the
that's
difference.
The
Yeah.
only
Exactly.
reason why I
Yeah.
picked it up, I was
Right?
not going to buy this, and
I
then when
wasn't
I
either.
saw
Yeah.
who was writing it, I'm like, shit, now I gotta buy it.
Me
That's
too.
the
I
thing
feel like
when
it's
you
gonna be the
weren't
best one.
yeah, when you weren't on the show, Mike, Kat and I were going through all the Age of Revelation books, and every single one was like a reason why we were going to skip it. And it's like, oh man, now I got to pick it up. Whether it
Right,
was this or whether it was Kitty Pryde being in one book or whatever
right.
it was. But yeah, this was the Tony Fleeks thing. It's like, okay, yeah, I've not
This
read a
would have been
thing.
a skip for sure. Like, who wants to read
Yeah.
Quentin Quire? I'm sure there's people that want to read Quentin Quire, but out of the trio here, we don't like Quentin Quire that much.
And
So
his
it's just like,
kids too.
Yeah.
and his kids. So I'm just like, oh, I don't really want to read that. But Tony Fleeks, like, is another one who just doesn't do any wrong. So I
Right.
want to see what he does with this.
Yeah, that's literally what I was about to say. I haven't read a thing by him that I haven't liked. So yeah. All right, so we'll go to Ultimate Spider-Man issue 22 next, which it appears it's going to be the death of somebody. It's RIP. There's a gravestone on the cover.
I feel so bad that Ultimate Spider-Man has betrayed you guys so much that it's on your top 3. But I still want to see where it goes. I want to see how it ends, and I'm anticipating it. Again, I don't know if it'll mean it's gonna be
Yeah.
the best issue of the week, but I want to see where this goes, and we're getting really close to the end now.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
shit's gotta happen, man. So
Yeah,
now what?
right.
So
What's gonna happen? So what happened last issue? Building exploded.
yeah,
I think it
Gwen
was
was in
Gwen.
there.
Yeah. Mm.
yeah,
So is this Gwen's death?
right.
Right?
But
It almost makes sense. It's like Harry is there, and he's the Goblin, and
yeah,
And it sucks if she
dies.
dies because they built her up
but
so much. You're like, where does that go?
Right.
well, she's Mysterio. She just disappeared in a puff of smoke. She's
Yeah.
fine.
True.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
it's
What if the whole issue is just him standing at the gravesite, just like reliving memories?
it's it's really
I don't
just
know.
pointing to the death of the series and the whole Ultimate Universe.
Right.
Yeah,
And then
that's what
Spider-Man,
it is.
since there's never any Spider-Man in it, you
Yeah.
just see Spider-Man in a far panel, like real small, swinging by, and that's it.
Well, what I meant for where does it go is we still have like 2 or 3 issues
Yeah, there's
left. So if she
at
dies
least 2
here,
issues. Yeah,
what's the last 2 issues going to do? Because she's
right,
been like the main point of the whole series.
right, exactly. And the reason it's not on my list is just because I was trying to mix it up a little bit because you all always list yours first, and I'm like, okay, I'll change it up a little bit. But yeah, no, I'm obviously always looking forward to Ultimate Spider-Man, even though it's been a little bit lackluster lately. All right, I'll skip my number 2 for a minute. We'll go to Justice League Unlimited issue 12, another DC K.O. tie-in, of course.
It's on
I
my
don't
list
remember.
because of the tie-in. I'm gonna probably read it
Yeah,
digitally though.
I don't remember what the actual story is about though.
It's
I read it a
Mr.
little.
Terrific, which doesn't get me too
Yeah,
excited.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
well, it's the guys, they're on the Watchtower.
Right.
And then obviously it's going to be a different cast of characters. I think it's got like Batman Unlimited, a few like Polka Dot Man, some other characters, and
Okay.
I forgot exactly what it is that they have to do.
Right. That's
But
what
See if I can
he
find it.
is the one that's in charge of the mission that's at hand. So you know what? Listen, I put all 3 of mine as the DC K.O. tie-ins because I'm just
Yeah.
not into the story and I want to see how it kind of all plays around it. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
Okay.
Look, I'm picking it up, and I haven't read Unlimited in a long time, so like it did something right.
They find the Terrifitech device at the core of the planet, and they
Mm.
have to figure out what that's all about. Okay.
Oh,
See, and
okay.
that's the part, the mystery part of Justice League Unlimited. I'd never really like the Watchtower stuff. I wasn't as interested in, but let's see how it ties into the event itself. Because Titans wasn't as tied into as I expected, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
All right. So now my number 2 is Cat's number 1, which is Green Lantern number 28, and this is interesting because speaking of mystery, there's a new page of the Book of Oa that has appeared, and it just has Hal Jordan's name written on it. That's it. And so they have to kind of uncover that, but there's also like the reconnection of him and Carol in this issue.
I love this book. I'm glad that a new arc has started. I think it's also tying into DC K.O. I think this issue is
Okay.
tying into DC K.O. Let me
It
double check
doesn't
that.
say. It doesn't say though.
Issue 28. I'm gonna check, see if it's this issue or if they're even gonna do that at all. You're right. They do not tie into DC K.O. this time around. I don't know if this book ever is. Yeah, it doesn't look like next issue is doing it either. So Oliver shows up in the next issue though, so that's kind of fun. But yeah, I love Carol and Hal, so of course I'm really excited for this book.
I like how it's a new jumping on point. So if people
Yeah.
haven't read it yet, you know, you can try to jump on. And all you need to know now is that the emotional spectrum is back. And, you know, we're going to get the lanterns the way they were. And I'm excited about that.
Yeah. And, you know, the entire Earth is being destroyed, but they don't care about that.
No, who cares, man?
No.
They're out.
They dealt with
They're
their
out
own
in
stuff already.
space.
Right,
They're
exactly.
doing
Yeah.
the whole thing, man. Whatever.
Kidding, of course. All right, so Superman 31, which is tied into DC K.O, of course. Just fantastic. Ties into the Legion as well, I believe.
That one's going to be obviously like one of the most heavily tied in because obviously Superman is the main character in this event. So how can you not be excited for this, especially since you know, it's tied into KO. So
right.
That's was my decision this week when it came to most anticipated. I'm like, I'm just putting all the KO books just to see. Hopefully, I want to see how these tie in compared to like Age of Revelation spin-off books.
Yeah. And speaking of which, that's my last one, which is Radioactive Spider-Man. And it's just on here because I want to know why he's like he is with all these weird alien arms sticking out of him and everything.
Well,
I'm just curious.
Again, he is human. He's not a mutant.
Right. I think he dosed himself with radiation to stave off the virus. I think is.
But you also know this is the same creative team as Amazing Spider-Man.
I know.
Which is why it wasn't on my list.
Right. Like I said, not the one I'm excited about. I'm just curious about how they're gonna, you know.
I am very curious about this too. I am. It's just like, all right, let's see what happens with Spider-Man 10 years in the future with spider weird arms. Like he's got like one super short arm, you know. It's just so weird.
This creative team, they really have to wring out so many issues. Imagine writing 3 issues a month. That's kind of crazy. And that's not on top of everything else you have to do. Like that's like 3 issues that come out that month that's just Spider-Man related. That's so much work.
I got a feeling, Kat, that obviously they knew about this event and they probably said, Joe Kelly, we're gonna do a Spider-Man series. You got 3 issues. Figure it out. And it's kind of just like, all right. So he's probably had this in the can for a while.
I hope so, because that sounds like a lot of work. But you know, let's see how it goes. Like obviously we're all gonna pick it up. That's one that I know I'll get issue 2 no matter what, because we're like, all right, it's Spider-Man. Let's see where it goes.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Right. But that is, I believe that's it. Yep.
That's it. We're done.
We are done.
Right at almost 12 o'clock. It's 11:59. So
once we end, it'll be 12 o'clock.
Yeah, once we end, it'll be 12 o'clock. It will be new comic book day. Yeah, guys. So hopefully you're excited for your comic books this week, and hopefully you have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for watching as usual. And like we've said in the past, if you haven't subscribed to our channels, Comic Uno, Only Good Comics, my channel, Comic Book Corner 2.0, super easy. Go ahead, subscribe. And then on your way out here real quick, please give this video a like so it lets others know that our little live stream every Tuesday night exists. I know we were up against the opening night of basketball, so
you know I would have been watching that, but
all right. No. But yeah, guys, so have a great new comic book day. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you all next week. Take care, guys.